evening, sir.
Good evening.
ISIS, what are we going to do about it?
Kill them. They've got to be destroyed, and you've got to have a goal, the president does, and we have to have a strategy to fit that goal and policies that will implement it. We have none of the above. The president, incredibly, the other day said that the world is messy and it's social networking that, I mean, that to me was one of the most unbelievable comments that I've ever made. But first of all, we have to understand that ISIS has obliterated the boundary between Iraq and Syria. You've got to go after them in both places, and you can't do it with half measures, and you need to use full weight of American air power. That will require some more boots and support on the ground, and it can succeed. We can stop them. And finally, Greta, all this didn't have to happen. We could have left a force behind in Iraq that would have stabilized Iraq, and we are paying an incredible price for the president's leading from behind, whether it be in Iraq or Syria or Libya or a number of other countries in the Middle East. We are seeing the chickens coming home to roost.
I want to throw a little more salt in the wound if we'd also help finance the Free Syrian Army, the moderates who might not have seen ISIS become so successful in Syria, because now, like a metastasis, they have spread into Iraq.
Hillary Clinton has described already the meeting in the White House over 2 years ago. Everyone in the national security team recommended arming ISIS, and the president by himself turned it down. Just like by himself, he decided not to strike Syria after he said that they'd crossed the red line. There's no ability. If the president and John Kerry keep talking about coalitions, how are you going to form coalition with people who do not trust you, who know you are totally unreliable? First, there has to be a restoration of American credibility.
You know, I haven't seen any Democrats come out in support of President Obama's policy. I'm not sure what the policy is. I mean, he himself has admitted no strategy in Syria, so I'm not exactly sure what there is to support. I think everyone's in a big mystery on this. But it almost seemed like General Dempsey and Secretary of Defense Hagel about 2 weeks ago, when they were so strong on Syria, it almost seemed like that they were going a little bit rogue because the president wasn't in town. And then now they have dialed it back a little bit.
They were reeled back in, and that's why the president gave the press conference that he did. Well, maybe some folks were a little bit out here too far. Look, 192,000 people slaughtered in Syria, and this world is a messy world? I mean, I have to tell you, and I've told you this before, I'm heartbroken about what's happened in Syria, and we have to stop ISIS. Not stop them, but we have to defeat them. And there's no doubt in my mind or anyone else's that they are a threat sooner or later. Interesting rhetoric from State Department or White House spokesman. We don't know of a specific threat. Well, we don't know of a specific threat, but I have known no national security expert that doesn't believe that they are going to pose a direct threat, because that's what they're capable of doing.
So what do you think the president's thinking?
I think that he's trying to stick to his campaigns, two campaigns, 2008, 2012, where he said we're going to lead from behind, we're going to get out of everywhere, and there's going to be this tide of war is receding, Bashar Assad, it's not a matter of whether, but when he leaves power. You can go through a long list of things the president has said and stood for have been completely wrong. And as you and I have discussed before, Bill Clinton changed his strategy after Srebrenica, Jimmy Carter changed his, George W. Bush changed his after seeing that we were failing in Iraq, and he can too. But apparently that I don't understand, because the facts on the ground dictate it. Could I just say one word about Ukraine? If we do not help Ukrainians, there's going to be a worse of a slaughter. There's going to be a land bridge to Crimea, and Moldova and the Baltic countries are going to be threatened incredibly. We will not give the Ukrainians sensitive intelligence information or supply them with weapons. Now the Germans maybe will. I'm grateful for the Germans for the first time in a long time.
Do you think he has a plan or a strategy, just not telling us, or do you think he has no plan and he's winging it?
There are plans that have been developed in the Pentagon and the CIA and the State Department. I know for a fact there's all kinds of plans out there.
So just can't make a decision?
Just like there were targets out there that they could have struck if he'd wanted to.